On round 6, we start with Tag being dead, and so is Down, with the attackers seeming to not be able to get any hatches open, with Ash already inside blue room, getting the pick on Doc. I don't see any weapons right now, but it's fine. They will be updated at the end of the game. So Ash having a very dominant position right now inside blue room is causing a lot of terror for the defending team. Able to get the pick off on Jaeger. We can see that the defending team is just falling apart, not being able to get the essential pick on Ash. Ash going for a third. Capcan left, being Dokkaebi called, trying to get rid of the call. And no one is able to kill Zephyron. Wow. Zephyron is able to just take it out and swipe NMSU. So
don't forget to make sure that I can also see it too.
Oh yes, I forgot. Oh man.
Kind of important.
You should have told me. Sorry, my fault. All right,
we're good. We're good.
We are good.
Okay, we're back. So now we're split. So that means we're back. Since we're doing 5 and 5, if I remember correctly, that means we have switched sides in this case.
We have switched sides now. NMSU is now on the defending team, going to go upstairs first.
Yep, definitely has the same idea, I would say, that they were trying before, is getting the upstairs before the downstairs. The inclusion of the dock is interesting, including the upstairs hold, but instead of like Maestro or the other tools that are just considering that both Maestro and Echo are available at this point.
Swapping off of Valkyrie for Bandit, getting rid of any kind of camera for them. I don't think that's going to be a good idea for them at the end, unless they plan on having a very hard hold on these stairs.
Yeah, that's what it looks like, and I do have some mild concerns about them being able to Ash underneath in bathroom to be able to get the Bandit charges. So it's going to be interesting to see how they hold that off to prevent the Bandit from losing his spot to Trick against whatever else. Also, without like a castle or something, it's definitely hard to hold that with that window being soft.
Yeah, I can definitely see what you mean. Now, Smoke trying to fake a spawn peek there. I don't know if that's going to be able to get any team, but it looks like nobody's going to roam right now, and that they're all going to be just anchoring. I don't know if NMSU wants to use this.
Yeah, it looks like Jaeger is going to be holding stairs, but that's really about it. Everyone's just playing top floor and no one else in other parts of the building unless Doc decides to run out, which he does not decide to.
And NMSU does a very interesting thing. As you can see, they go through and they've been breaking every single window possible to show some kind of spawn peek for it.
Yeah, so let's see where they're approaching. They're doing your normal sides from small tower and from the other side, or from large tower and from the other side as well. And it looks like the Habana is just opening up everything to make sure those windows are open.
Well, I
to make
think
things harder for those defenders and kids.
No, I think NMSU putting the holes inside the windows has put a lot of pressure on it, because now they're trying to be careful and making sure that nobody's gonna take them out real fast.
Yeah, it definitely makes problems for that Smoke, as you would say, where it makes it really hard for him to be able to rotate and move, especially now that both the windows are open and he has no idea where anyone is. Also, again, the SMG Smoke is interesting as well. Coming out from both teams, not seeing the normal shotgun smoke as well.
I can agree with you there. Actually, it turns out Mute's going to be the one to roam just downstairs. Twitch trying to get some kind of push on Master Bedroom and gets the pick off on Doc.
I do think it's interesting that because they had a Doc, not a Rook, they did not have impacts to open anything up, really. Right? Or just Doc with impacts.
Smoke was the one with impacts.
Oh, Smoke had the impacts. Okay.
Yes.
But still, that's definitely interesting, not having the availability to soft reach. And looks like everything's getting open now. They are now opening up connector from large tower into that hallway there across from bedroom.
Yes, now we can definitely see just a lot of pressure coming out from the defense side. Butte still not being able to fight anybody yet, but we'll just try and find out. Twitch trying to apply pressure on the window, seeing if she can get the peek on anyone inside the corner. Call goes out by Dokkaebi.
And it looks like that Mute might be trying to stay downstairs to try and see for the plant. That may be the line, because he's the only one. because we only have 2 people with C4 right now. One of them's really pinned and just got Zerfon just killed the bandit, and that C4 already went out, so now we have no C4s left to deny the plant from underneath.
Hopefully Mute is going to be able to rotate up main staircase and try and get some kind of pick back. Twitch and Ash deciding to push in. Jaeger gets a pick on Habana. Ash fighting smoke.
And it just seems like that hallway is just being a large problem. And that Jaeger also picks up the Ash as well. And narrowly loses to the fight to the... While preoccupied by the window, the Dokebi comes from behind and cleans up the Jaeger.
What we weren't able to see was Mute tried to rotate from behind and just got picked off quite quickly by Dokebi.
Yep, especially coming up those red stairs. There were 2 on those stairs, which did not make it for an easy rotate at all.
NMSU trying to do downstairs again. Zephron just dominating as Ash making these essential pushes that's just crushing the defense. I don't think they're ready for any kind of hard push, especially on big window, and even as we saw 2 rounds ago, down inside blue room.
Yeah, and it definitely is interesting that only now they're deciding to leverage the Echo. And there's an interesting point to be made where without a Maestro, that it's going to be hard to see through if they bring a lot of smokes. Though we do know, because we're up here, that they're only bringing 1 set of smokes, which definitely seems relatively low. But bringing that Mute in will make it hard for that Habana to come in, so they'll have to just watch for the Twitch drone.
You go ahead.
Yeah, also the inclusion of the Frost I find interesting as well. I'm not entirely sure where they're going to place those welcome mats, but it's going to be interesting all the same for them to be careful and just slow down the foot.
Well, I mean, you can always put welcome mats right next to the washing machine down at the bottom of the stairs.
Because you can't shoot that from stairs, right? You can't look that far down.
No, you have to be at the very bottom of the stairs in order to see it. I believe so.
Yep.
But I do like the fact that they did do the 6-pick there, because Mute is almost essential on this site. Otherwise, you're just sacrificing all the hatches.
Yep, and it also looks like that they were trying to do that to play to going to a different one, because the only defense they've won is they have not won a defense yet, actually, come to think of it. So they have to work on that. So definitely 6-picking into the Mute will make them think that hopefully they're somewhere else, at least in terms of their setup. Hopefully they'll be able to adapt, and it looks like the Ash is going to try and do construction push here. Maybe loop around to tower as well, but we'll see where they end up coalescing as a group here.
Yeah, and I definitely can see why ASU has banned out the Mira. Because it seems that they are a very attacking heavy team.
Yeah, so they are intending to not do particularly well, it looks like, on the defense, and just try and win the back half of this and get ahead. At this point, it looks like there aren't really any particular pushes going on right now. It's just trying to do setup for the most part. They have someone going up into large tower, and just everyone's holding hard downstairs.
It looks like there's a cluster of them because there's so many downstairs. I don't think they planned on this, but I think it's too late in the round to let anybody go out and try and roam.
Yeah, I think they're going to have a problem here, especially once they lose the meeting control. It's going to slow them down by the existence of not having people. But with that drone coming out, they're all going to know that nobody's in there. So now the defenders are just basically trapped in the basement unless they do some creative movement while people aren't paying attention.
Yeah, ASU is really taking their time flushing out the whole entire second floor and droning out meeting to just make sure that no matter what they do, it's just a clean sweep possible. And I'm not sure if this is going to come back to bite them because it's already been half the round and no one has made a push at all.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to be doing a 2-sided push. They're going to try and do the main stairs by hatch that is near the classroom, and it looks like there's going to be 2, and Ash is pushing down the back tower stairs, so we'll see how that's going to pan.
Well, Twitch tries to push down the main stairs to get the Mute jammer and is get picked up by Mute. Jaeger picking up
the shotgun. Yeah, the Mute coming in and taking out 2, and it looks like the Mute was finally traded off by the Habana.
Yeah, I can see why Twitch was forced to try and get the drone, to get the
jammer on hatch, but it looks like they were not able to achieve it. And now they also know where the IQ is, so that's going to be especially interesting at this point in terms of that attempted. It looks like IQ managed to get it.
Well, 30 seconds left. 30
Yeah,
seconds.
with only 30 seconds left on the round, they're gonna have to make a crazy push with only 2 people left.
Well, Habana makes a crazy push, getting downstairs. IQ just needs to get some pressure to flush them out towards Habana.
No one knows where that is. You think Habana would try to plant right now? That seems like the best option.
Habana just
As
needs
she's
to
being
try and find
smoked out.
It looks like the attackers are just going for picks.
Yep, now they're gonna try and plant in storage right now.
Ooh.
But it's a 2v1, and no one knows where the Habana is, and the Frost comes in and cleans up the Habana as she was planting.
I think the hard push there from the IQ really turned out to bite them inside the back. If she would have just stayed back a little bit and waited for the push, Habana was inside of a very safe spot in that corner and could have easily got the plant since there was less than 5 seconds on the clock.
Yeah, there also was an interesting note to make that nobody knew where the Habana was, so why didn't the Habana just plant on the dishwasher there? Because nobody knew they were there. So they could have just planted out there and no one would have known the plant was going down. And that's a much more defensible position than when they put themselves, than the vulnerability they put themselves in before.
I think the Habana wasn't sure, since there were 4 people alive, if they all had their eyes on IQ or not. And that's why I think there was more of a double-sided push at the same time with a pick from IQ to lead it.
Yeah, it was definitely more so the thought of the missed smoke, at least the smoke that didn't get all the way out, that was just around where the sinks were, that it may have been advantageous, especially with the smoke going out there. So we're looking at our lineups here. We have 2 of the big men coming in. We have a Rook and a Doc playing the upstairs. So it looks like they might try for spawn peaks, especially with that lineup, and no 6 picks coming in for either team. So this is going to be interesting, especially it's going to be really hard for them to hold that upstairs wall with only a mute. So we're going to see how this ends up panning out.
Well, 2 rounds ago when they did upstairs, they didn't even use the wall at all. Instead, they were able to just get a clean push inside connector upstairs, which threw them off as well. So we'll see if they try and change up any mute jammer spots, or if he's just going to place them out inside the middle of the hallways.
Yeah, it looks like right now they're actually playing connector unlike before. They were not playing there before, so it looks like they're going to be doing the full control of top floor into red tower this time around.
Maybe. They might just be trying to apply pressure for Rook since they do have 2 ACOGs, but we will see with Rook trying to go towards Big Tower, potentially for a spawn peak.
Yeah, it looks like Ash is coming in towards Big Tower, and there is a drone up there, as you see. There's a drone, so they do know that someone is up there, at least on the mid floor, because it is sitting on those boxes there. So we'll see if the Ash realizes that the Rook is up there. Yep, she knows not where the Rook is necessarily, but she definitely knows that someone is there.
Let's see if Rook is going to react to it properly. Is Ash just going to repel it, or maybe she's going to try and get a drone?
She's going to try and get the drone out, but if the drone... So she knows someone's up there. She's no idea where. She'll see if she can flash him out.
Rook blowing his cover is just going to rotate back.
And they have multiple drones looking right at him. They have the one on the boxes and the one in there. No one else is doing a push anywhere else, though, because they're just still going about outside on the east side over there. So we'll see how this pans out, because just the Rook even rotating has wasted 30 seconds off the clock here.
And now you can see IQ and Ash have to be quite careful since there's a hole in the wall. They don't know if there's any pressure coming from below or not.
Yeah, they definitely slowed their push significantly just by the existence of the Rook having been there and the rotation hole. I don't know if there's any push going on anywhere else, but not particularly. It looks like Dokebi's just playing on the window outside the hallway there. And they have now reinforced the extra connector wall, which is interesting at this point.
I mean, at this rate, once you lose Big Tower sight, you might as well get rid of the angle, because otherwise it will just come back to bite you in the future.
Yep, and it looks like that Twitch is coming in to play in big window and seeing what's happening there and see if the Twitch will do anything that side or rotate over to kids to get that window open. However, this push is really slow, and especially since they reinforced that side, it's going to be really hard for them to push in. Ash is now in the window by bunkering.
It looks like Rook tried to rotate behind and got picked off by IQ, but this is a very somewhat split site. Dokkaebi dropping down to push near front door, I believe. Yeah. Doc trying to contest Ash.
The Doc at low health. And now Dokkaebi's coming in on big window side and seeing if the Jaeger can take out the Dokkaebi. But this seems like a very disjointed push in 3 different places, and the defense is relatively decently set up to be able to take the brunt in the last 30 seconds of the match.
Well,
and calls going out too as well.
Yeah, 28 seconds left on the clock. Mute hiding away inside Armory. Jaeger being
especially with
flushed
that,
downstairs.
with Ash at low, there are 2 of them who are currently at low, and they do not have time for a reset right now.
Jaeger playing below the window, waiting for Dokkaebi to hop in. Dokkaebi hops in. Jaeger is able to get the pick.
Yep, Ash is in sight. They have 10 seconds, and they have no idea where anyone is.
Mute.
So currently, the Mute comes in and picks off the Ash, and they're coming in. The Diffuser's down with no time left, and the defenders win the round.
I definitely think that if there was more of a uniform push for the attackers, they could have won the round. But then again, NMSU did a lot of mind games and pressure with having control of Big Tower at the beginning of the round, slowing down the attackers' push by at least 1 minute.
Yeah, definitely that caution is what really determined that round. Just the amount of time wasting before the final push, and just since all their drones were lost, or at least most of them were lost in trying to push out Rook from Meeting and Big Tower, they really had no intel, so they just had to wildly push in the last 30 seconds and hope they got there, which they did not. So now we're currently at match point in favor of NMSU. So we'll see how this pans out, going down to kitchen dining, which is interesting. And it looks like they have all the standard tells of a kitchen dining with both a castle and a bandit. So we will see how this ends up panning out and how well they can hold the wall into small tower.
Well, I do like the addition of the Maestro cam there, because otherwise they have no way of denying it besides the Twitch drone or maybe an Ash charge. So we'll see if he's able to position his Maestro camera in the spot where they are not able to initially see it and be able to pick off some Habanas.
Yeah, they're going to have to put it somewhere creatively under the stairs. However, the addition of the Ash will make it harder to keep both of them around, especially in a place that you'd want to be a hair more conspicuous to try and either get the plant or get the Habana charges off the wall.
Well, even so, with the addition of Echo, it's going to be quite hard to get the plant there unless IQ is up. But if the defending team can get a quick pick on IQ, it's definitely going to help reinforce Echo's viability for the rest of the round.
100%. And an interesting other thing to know is that with both Castle and Maestro being up, that is a significant pressure upon the Ash, since I don't believe they have a whole lot of breaching charges.
Yeah,
or at least you're good.
Oh yeah, with the breaching charges, it seems that the main primary source of breach is just going to be Ash and potentially IQ if she is running breach charges. Alright, so it seems there's only 2 operators to actually get down those castle walls unless they plan on punching them all day.
Which at this point, we've also been seeing them do the historically slow push. And since they are approaching from Meeting side, it definitely will intend to be more of a slow burn of a push. Though, however, as we saw before, that did not exactly turn out well the last time they tried.
It seems that ASU has a very popular spot of pushing onto the balcony as their first point of entry.
Yeah, we've seen that happen a lot, so just trying to clean out the upstairs entirely and then push down consequently from there.
Yes.
It looks like everyone is going from the big window garage side and just trying to push down from those stairs instead, and that's the side push. Now they're all connecting upstairs. And that's a breach charge used, interestingly enough. At least the breach charge placed. So that means that one castle wall will not actually be able to be breached without the force of their punch. But it looks like they're going to try some vertical play here and just open up a whole ton of stuff upstairs.
Yeah, see if IQ decides to put any breach charges on the floor and try and flush out some popular angles. And it seems...
Yeah, and the hatch in the kitchen has been opened. And Ash is already at half health here from the incursion against the Maestro, I believe.
Yeah, it seems that Maestro, Echo, and Rook were all shooting upstairs and was able to do a lot of damage to her. There's the hole in the ground for the rotation hole. Maestro seems to be stuck inside bathroom now.
Yeah, and that's where both Ashes were used already. So important to note that both Ashes have already been used. That means that those castle walls are definitely staying in place for the time being. Or at least most of them.
Well, it seems that at this rate, the direction that they're pushing, I don't think they're ever going to need to explode a castle wall, since it seems like they're dropping hatch. Ash drops down.
Yeah, they open up that wall, and there's only a minute left. This is really their only insight into the site, because they have no other way that they're going to easily get into sight.
Twitch was able to pick up Maestro from the hole in the ground. Ash gets one, but with an immediate trade back by Echo. Echo goes for the push, gets Ash.
And now there's 2 more pushing on that side.
Habana's still trying to push through Meeting, and Twitch seems to try and push through hallway.
Yep, and that opened up, and with that C4 rotation, the bandit manages to...
It's now 1v1 with IQ being down. Can Castle... Well, 18 seconds left on the clock. Is Castle going to be aggressive in trying to get the pick, or is he just going to wait out
He's going
Habana
to
for the
rotate
plan?
from the back since it looks like nobody knows that he happens to be there. And he might be able to pick up both, especially with them at such low health. Yep, he got
Habana gets a
one.
plant down. Both players being very aggressive with holding the angle. But at the end of the day, Castle has to be pushed. Habana pushes out. And that is the game. NMSU has taken the first map.
Yeah, 6-4, especially there. I was surprised to see that the Habana went for the push and didn't let the Castle come to her. In this case, it definitely would have seemed more advantageous, but that's how the dice fell. It was a 1v1, so it could have skewed either way.
I think Habana definitely was scared and thought that the Castle was pushing through the meeting since there was a hole in the wall there. So I think that's why she had a very rapid push towards the hallway.
Yep. So at this point,
we are going
that's
to...
base.
No, go ahead.
We give them the option to take a 5-minute break, and then we'll return after that and/or have some discourse in between.
Let's see if the teams are willing to take a 5-minute break first. If not, we will go on from there.
Good effort.
Yeah. Alright, both teams have decided to take a 5-minute break. So, the next map up, Coinman, is Border.
Yeah, as we see every week.
A very standard map, mainly due to how easy the verticality is.
Yeah, and there's not really much to say with Border in terms of new strategies. Just how well can one team maneuver around the other, because there's a very high amount of maneuverability on the map. So most of this game is going to be coming around to who can adapt better mid-round and in terms of location and try and get the flanking pushes and the retakes at this point. Especially once we saw how close Oregon was.
Yes. Now, do you think ASU is going to bring it back after seeing what happened with the very first map? Or what do you think is going to be your prediction for that?
Well, as I'm taking a look here, considering that one was Oregon was NMSU's map, it definitely, with it being this tight, I would hazard a guess that ASU will take this one, considering that it is the map that they chose.
I can definitely agree with you there. Now, when it comes to map bans, what do you think we're going to be seeing this time? I'm definitely thinking that we're going to see more of a Thermite ban like usual, but I am hoping that we're able to see a mirror this time around, though.
Yeah, Mira is definitely more likely to be up in terms of a ban this time around. However, I do definitely expect to see an Echo ban. Maestro is definitely annoying, but not as critical as Echo can be when you're trying to hold Armory in similar places like that.
Give me 1 second. Sorry about that. I just needed to do a quick repost. Since we sadly went down for most of the rounds there, actually. Okay. And we are back on the second map, Border, with ASU starting off with the attack. When it comes for bans, with Border being such a vertical map, I'm expecting to see more or less a buck ban, or maybe just a jackal ban off the start.
Yeah, that definitely seems likely. Anything where they have lots of utility in terms of just opening up everything is definitely likely. So we'll see what the attackers ban first, because this will definitely give us into a clue into what kind of strategy they're going to.
Defenders are banning first. And Dokkaebi getting banned by NMSU. I don't think they like the Dokkaebi being picked every round by ASU, ruining any kind of roaming game they had.
I mean, to be entirely honest, we didn't actually see much anyway, so that is definitely interesting in that aspect that they're banning the Dokkaebi in terms of affecting their holds. But the interesting thing this is going to do is basically give free reign to ASU in terms of what kind of vertical play they want to make.
And it seems like
which is definitely interesting.
Definitely going to pick up some kind of vertical play with Jackal being banned now. It's going to be Rome City for NMSU.
Yeah, it looks like they're banking on just Buck and anyone with breach charges opening up the floors when they're playing down in Workshop downstairs.
And with a Thermite or Habana not getting banned too, we're definitely going to see Armory Wall taking a hit. Especially now that Mira has been banned, ruining the Armory hold that is so easy to do.
Yeah, what it looks like now is just like it's going to be an interesting game about how roaming works, because the site is going to be wide open. It looks like any way you cut it, either side of the site, either in the office side or the armory side, or when you're downstairs, the bathroom side, everything's going to be open. So it's going to be interesting about how roam play will factor into this one and how that pans out. And it looks like we actually see a Maestro ban, so Echo's going to be the one up this time, which is going to provide for some interesting play now that they don't have both.
Well, when it comes to roam play, I definitely want to hope that NMSU is able to have a very strong hold on CC cash on every round possible, no matter what site, because that is a very important place to hold, especially with the popularity of pushing that it takes. And we actually see a Blackbeard come out from ASU going for a very, very sweaty start.
Yeah, especially with the Thermite and the Thatcher. It looks like they're just going to try and do a hot breach into there, maybe with some procedural pushing out of people in CCTV. But past that, it looks like that armory wall is going to be blown right up.
And here we can see definitely more of a roam game with Legion and Ella. Legion definitely was needed last map to try and push off the Ashe rushes that constantly took them out.
And this is going to be interesting now that we see the Monty coming in. It's going to make that Legion just slightly better in that regard to be able to, and a Clash too. Wow. Okay. So this is going to be some shields just looking at each other for a while. And I guess that's how they're going to try and blunt the aggression on Armory side.
Well, I can definitely see the pick for Clash. The Clash has now become more viable with the recent addition of the fully automatic SMG buff that has come to her. Where am I going? So, as we can see, just a very standard defense, not playing for the downstairs hatch C4 throw with a mute or anything. So we're going to see what happens there. Besides that, looks like just a standard hold inside main office.
Yep, standard hold in office, and I do believe it is interesting that they're not going to try and bandit trick either of the two walls. That may be because they know the other team has a habit of bringing in Ashe.
There's
so
no
the
bandit.
fact that ASU... Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like, with the idea of knowing that ASU always brings an Ashe, what's the point of bringing a bandit then when you can just Ashe the floor and then have that entirely open on either side?
I can definitely see what you mean. Echo putting a hole into the top wall there. I don't know what that's for. And Mute's trying to apply pressure outside the CC door on balcony.
And it looks like they're actually doing an office take this time. So if you look at where everyone is positioning themselves, they're going to try and do a hot office take at this point.
Well, it's definitely going to be possible with this Monty here, just being able to apply plenty of pressure inside not only the hallway, but the door itself.
And it doesn't look like that they're expecting that at all, because there's only a tiny opening over in the door from on the vent side over there. So we'll see how this pans out, especially with no walls reinforced in Fountain at all, with all that being soft. This push is going to be incredibly interesting to see how NMSU takes
Well, you can see NMSU has quickly rotated their whole entire defense over, and there's a dancing between Legion and Jaeger there. But with Clash being able to hold the armory wall, there is no need to have so many people lined up on that wall anymore, which allows for more roam game or just hold over near the office side.
Yep, and now over on office side, they now have breached the wall, and the Monty is walking in, taking a look and doing the human drone thing.
Clash has come back immediately to prevent that hold. Ash still out on balcony. Let's see what's going to happen here.
Yeah, and the Monty has pushed up. There is no one else rotating around to that back hallway that connects over to break room, which is definitely interesting in terms of the mute. But it looks like they're just trying to hold that window from the Ash again. And the Ash picks off the mute, holding over by the beepers.
Yeah, it's
So that is
quite a bad pick for them. And also, Thatcher gets a pick off on Jaeger inside main office.
Yeah, so there's nobody left there in main office in for the Clash. And they have the office door open, so it looks like this is going to be not necessarily an easy, but a more accessible take than normal.
You can see Legion being pressured and is forced to run out and just gets picked off by Thatcher. It seems that the defense team's starting to fall apart, only with Clash left to be their only front wall. Thermite trying to get the plant down, with Monty now just preventing any kind of frontal push. Ash jumps in, gets a pick on Clash. Echo, last one alive inside the closet. Gets a pick on Ash.
And he manages to get the Ash. But the question is, will he be able to get everyone else? And the answer is no.
With
The
Thatcher
Thatcher comes in from the break room side and just happens to find the Echo who vaulted over the side of small office.
And we can definitely see why Monty is a very decent pick on a map like Border, because as soon as you can get some kind of camera that can apply plenty of pressure inside any hallway, you kind of hold that hallway.
What it looks like now is that they're going to try actually bringing a bandit this time, as that was their downfall, only having a mute. Because I don't think that, well, I guess the other half is that the wall going into that office there was actually soft. So even if you had a guy trying to bandit trick, if anyone came swept around that side, since all the fountain walls were soft, they could have just shot in and killed whoever was trying to trick. So they may be trying to do a different hold upstairs this time, and trying to try something different here.
We can see Buck getting picked by Downcast. Definitely is going to hurt the NMSU's defense side, and is going to definitely ruin those bandits, not only on armory wall, but any kind of wall inside the office as well.
Yeah, it definitely looks like they were expecting a workshop one here in this case. So they were, yeah, it looks like they were expecting a workshop defense, but instead with it being upstairs, the Buck doesn't lose utility, but it does make it harder to use because shooting upwards is never exactly an easy task.
I mean, if you were to hold front doors Buck, you can definitely apply any kind of pressure there if they have just a mirror or bandit on those walls. The only thing you have to be careful for is that you don't get picked off from main stairs or workshop.
Yeah, and as we saw, there was not a particularly heavy roam game, because as you saw, there were 0 people in CCTV last defense.
Oh, it
So
seems like
I don't know if we're going to see that similar thing again, or if we're actually going to have people being roaming in different places this time. So we'll have to see about how this defense pitches.
well, you definitely see that both teams are not too lean on roaming. It seems like they all are quite heavy on lurking. Instead, I mean, roaming can just do a lot of utility. If we saw last round, even if they had a roamer downstairs, if he would have flanked up from east side stairs, he could have definitely got Thermite or Thatcher on the rotation.
There also is an interesting point to be made where all the walls in Fountain are still soft. They still have not decided to reinforce any of those, which does make for some very awkward circumstances since they are not reinforced.
Oh, there we go. Looks like Jaeger's trying to reinforce them now. Bandit trying to play from above on tellers, but it seems like the attacking team was able to rush inside. Downcast trying to go from below and apply pressure as Buck.
And right now, it looks like they're cleaning out the first floor roamers, which there aren't any, so there's going to be no one. And that's a C4 gone.
By Bandit, expecting to get a pick, but finds
Yeah, so now
nothing.
both C4s are gone, and Ash managed to get one, and Buck, once the Legion attempted to open the hatch to pick some people down in Workshop, that ended up costing 2 of them their lives, one from Hatch and one from Winter.
Yes, and we can see Jaeger trying to just win the fight against Ash, but I don't know if he's going to be able to get the shot.
Yeah, especially with that flash coming in, it makes this whole fight a lot harder.
Especially with Buck coming down from below as well, just applying pressure all around.
It definitely seems like at this point, most people are on the balcony, either the AC unit or balcony at this point. Oh, and he managed to get the Thatcher, the bandit from the backside.
On these stairs, yeah.
Yeah,
Buck pushing up main stairs.
And the Buck refrag.
Echo.
Now it's only just the Jaeger here. And he gets killed by the IQ just pushing in from that side. The Buck just applying too much pressure underneath and making things incredibly difficult for anyone to have any kind of hold.
Now, I'm curious to see if NMSU is going to try and do their workshop now, because it seems that ASU has definitely practiced border a lot, especially with this office side push instead of doing your standard armories push.
Yeah, at that point, it looks like NMSU has made the concession, has decided to go downstairs now in the Vents workshop area to try something different, to try and see if they can cobble together, as both of these attacks were totally dominant in terms of the performance that we saw.
Yeah. And now with an interesting frost pick coming out from MSU, I'm assuming that they're playing for any kind of jumping through the exterior window, and they're keeping the frost. Only with Ella to be swapped for maybe a pulse?
Something like that, because it looks like, I hope they do a decent upstairs hold, because especially knowing that Buck is up and it looks like they're going to be bringing a Buck, they definitely have to hold the upstairs armory. Otherwise, there's no way they're going to be able to hold the downstairs vents area at all.
I mean, it looks like they just keep the Ella instead of trying to change it up. Now, I don't see Ella's utility on this besides roaming, but so far, like we said, no teams have been roaming. So it's going to be an interesting pick up for Ella, and it seems like the NMSU defense team is going to be going for a more standard bathroom hold too, with the castle.
Yeah, that's what it looks like, and hopefully it looks like Ella is going to be upstairs. So hopefully we see at least a couple people upstairs, because they cannot allow Buck to have free reign up in armory. Otherwise, the entire defense will go to shambles.
Yeah, it seems like the whole entire team is scattered out, trying to hunt down drones at this rate.
Yeah, and it looks like they're actually all spread out over the map. There actually are very few people at least currently on site. Both Jaeger and Ella will be playing upstairs, it seems. So hopefully that will end up for them as a decent hold upstairs. And it looks like they are doing a bathroom push this time for Buck and company. So we'll see how that pans out, if they're going to push in for the second floor through offices.
Yeah, it seems like they're definitely going to be able to drone it out. Maybe Thermite's going to go upstairs and try and apply pressure onto the hatches. We'll see. And we do have roamers upstairs with Jaeger and Castle playing the upstairs right now, and Ella just chilling out inside of
Visa offices.
Yeah, custom inspection.
So
So
it looks like we're just in a holding pattern right now, just waiting for people to move into various places.
Well, Jaeger gets picked off from the roof by IQ, since he was able to see that they're pushing out onto big office. And with that pick, it seems like they lost all their upstairs hold. I do not.
The castle went back downstairs, so now the entirety of the upstairs is just going to be open and free reign for the Ashes and the Bucks to come in and just blow everything open. So we'll see if the Thermite comes in, is going to try and do a bathroom breach, which is something that is entirely possible with that rotation that he was intending to do.
Well, we can see Castle trying to prevent that hatch from being opened up by just randomly shooting. And it seems like he got off the angle, sadly, not in time for Thermite to be able to blow it up.
Yeah, but it looks like the second time he got it open, as Thermite put the entire thing on the hatch this time. So now with that open and Buck just upstairs totally reaming open the entire site. And now Ella is low over in Visa, trying to pick a fight with the Ash on the stairs and basically losing.
Thatcher getting a pick from the upstairs through a hole in the wall. It seems that NMSU is falling apart due to verticality, which is a very popular aspect of border.
Yeah, you're going to have to try and push around and clean up the upstairs, because at this point, it's very hard to shoot up. And the Frost manages to pick off the IQ through one of the holes. And it looks like that the Thermite ran into the Ella and managed to kill her on her pass through and rotation back to...
It seems like the attacking team now, instead of going for an upstairs push, they're definitely going to go and try and push downstairs. For
Also,
the plant.
this is interesting. With only 30 seconds left, this is going to have to be a really quick and dirty push because there just isn't enough time left. So these two people might be able to actually just hold it off for that amount of time as needed. It looks like Frost was picked off by Buck, and there goes the dot from the Thatcher just peeking in from that side of the door.
Yeah, we can definitely see how just changing up your approach and pushing from two different angles throughout the round can definitely throw off the defense team. Because the verticality was able to prevent any kind of roaming, pushing them back to site, and then pushing through bathroom just secured the deal.
Yeah, and I do believe at this point that NMSU is definitely too quick to fall back. Because if he had at this point, you have to look at it and say, okay, if we're going to try and do downstairs, now they're going back up to Armory, but if we're going to try and do downstairs, we just need to waste time because they still managed it to get to 30 seconds. We did see a couple of wins come out on Oregon where even just a couple roamers just sitting around upstairs, they may have died in the process, but just the fear of more roamers seemed to have gotten to ASU and just made them slog through and lose a lot of time because they still only had 20 seconds left for that push, which is definitely something even in a 2v4 with a couple people low is definitely winnable.
I can definitely agree with you there, and it seems like we're going back 2 rounds again to just the upstairs lockers with the same lineups by both teams. Maybe NMSU can try and change things up, trying to get rid of the Ash on balcony, because it seems that she's able to get 1 or 2 picks every single time from that window, and it just applies so much pressure on the defense team.
Yeah, and it looks like this time they're actually reinforcing both sides of Fountain, which is something that they've been heavily lacking in their defense, which is definitely important. And they're also opening up the side of the small office there with the smoke. So we'll see how this ends up panning out, especially with the slightly different tact of defense into where reinforcements go.
And we can also see that instead of picking up an Echo like they usually do, they've now decided to pick up a Doc instead, hoping that his health and delaying throughout the round will give them favor. Jaeger trying to go for a peek on the window there with the hole in the wall because of Fountain.
Yep, and that's in the same place he's been every single time. So if ASU is paying attention, they've seen the replayability of where certain operators are, so they might actually just be able to pick up on the fact that Jaeger has just always sits in that little throne in fountain on the fountain every single time that they've tried to push upstairs. So we'll see if ASU actually picks up on that.
Well, NMSU is now doing a more aggressive hold on it, with Bandit actually being out inside the big office now.
Yeah, it looks like 2 people are in office as they had seen that that is traditionally the push, and I will give thanks to the IQ.
Do you
Good old Surf on there for taking out the helicopter so that we don't have to hear that all the time as commentators.
Thermite's dying there, but it's not a big deal. Buck actually being able to hold inside Workshop already, just waiting for the time to apply pressure.
Yeah, because no one is roaming first floor. There could be just a roamer first floor who just came and swept around and just might be able to get him. But now Buck is coming to open the entirety of the floor basically everywhere and see how that affects the hold here now.
Thatcher getting shot up through the window, potentially by Jaeger.
Looks like they're going to try and do a reset with a minute 45, which is definitely plenty of time. And that is a whiff C4. And Bandit's trying to pick fights through the breach hole there on the opposite side.
And it seems that somebody was able to also fight back Buck, getting him quite low, but Ash is able to get in through the window already.
I don't know if anyone knows that she's actually on site.
I don't think they do. The plant's going down.
No one has. Oh, and Ash, yeah. Oh, and the smoke was missed. And so. Oh no, the team kill on the C4. Okay, we'll see how this pans out now with the thermite low outside. So currently it's a 3v3. However, the defense have the advantage, everyone being low, and they trade both these. Looks like. Oh wow, there's only one left.
If Smoke
Let's see if he can long arm. Yeah.
I
think that's the only way he's gonna get it because no one else is anywhere near there.
I don't know if he saw the thermite there or not. He finally sees him, is able to get the pick, but Buck is coming around through a big office.
Yeah, he's gonna have to try and long arm it and just try and know where the Buck is. Just lobbing a frag. Oh, it got eaten by the Jaeger. Is he gonna be aggressive enough?
But there's no time. Left.
He managed to finally get it, but there is no time. So that is an unfortunate loss on the end of the defense there. the offense just making ASU just making sure that that late push coming in from Buck, making sure that the smoke had no time to diffuse.
But we can definitely see here that NMSU was able to finally change up something with the defense, and instead of getting crushed, they were to actually hold their own for a while. But until Ash was able to get that window, then that was their downfall.
Yeah, now we're on the side point. So now that they saw that armory lockers actually work, they're going to go at it again with within exactly the same makeups from both sides. And we saw at this point how NMSU nearly won the last one. So we'll see if they'll actually be able to take it out this time with only 1 round left on defense.
Yeah, and I mean, at this rate, NMSU needs anything they can get to try and go for the attack themselves, because Border can be a very defense-heavy map if played properly.
Yeah, and it definitely seems like ASU knows exactly what they're doing on this map inside and out, and that is why they ended up choosing it. So even on defense, we'll see some very interesting strats come out for them, since I personally expected, as I said before, I expected ASU to definitely win this one, but I didn't think it would be in this extravagant a fashion after seeing how Oregon panned out.
I can agree with you there. So we see, like we always, it's a standard defense here, like usual. But I'm hoping that Doc or maybe Jaeger will be able to hold the window for small office instead. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because that's definitely something that we noticed before, is that they don't particularly hold the office that Bandit is working on right now particularly well. They let them come in and then retake. However, that office on the other side of that cabinet there is possibly the hardest thing to retake on the site without a C4 from below. And they only have 2 C4s, so they might play that out that way, but with a Buck downstairs, that definitely is incredibly difficult to do.
Yeah, let's see if Buck will decide to try the verticality game again, potentially pushing through tellers off the start, but is going to get a drone in to see where they are hiding at.
And as we see from the previous other rounds that we knows before, is that there are no roamers on the first floor as far as I can tell. Everyone is definitely on the upstairs. And look at where those bandit batteries are used. Since they noticed that they do the other push on the opposite side, there are no bandit batteries used on armory.
Yeah, I can definitely agree there, but as we can see, Ash is already back on the window that keeps winning them the game, and it turns out, looks like she's trying to drone it out, but hopefully somebody will be able to apply pressure against her here soon.
Yeah, and it looks like they already got the hatch open from the Buck, just trying to throw a frag from underneath to try and get whoever might be standing in that corner. But it looks like that panned out. So now there's only 1 frag grenade left on ASU side.
And it looks like Doc is trying to apply pressure on IQ, but Bandit, playing through the window, is able to get the pick instead. A very good start.
Yeah, and offices hasn't even been opened yet aside from there, but now they're pushing into B side, knowing that there was no after the offense ASU saw that there was no bandits on armory side, they decided to adapt and go for that push. So now with that armory side entirely open, we'll see how NMSU is going to be able to hold it.
And I'm curious to see if Ash is going to be able to use this push against NMSU and is able to get a side push. Buck applying plenty of pressure from below.
And everything's getting really hectic now as the C4 comes out and takes care of the Ash. But the thermite frags out from the armory side just now that is open. However, the Buck is still downstairs with 2 upstairs and the Buck downstairs. It still creates an extreme amount of pressure for the defenders upstairs.
Yeah, we can see Bandit trying to apply pressure from CC. Thermite trying to get a quick plan, it looks like.
It doesn't look like anyone knows that he's actually there, which is incredibly interesting.
Can Bandit gets the pick on Thatcher. Yeah. Thermite is pushed up against the wall, lays down. Buck trying to apply pressure from below, gets a pick on Smoke. It's only up to Bandit and a 5-0 turn point, and we now go for match point from here on out.
Yeah, and that quick flurry of blows at the end, the Buck managing to clean up 2 over an armory side because so much was open in the attempt to get the thermite after in the post plant. Just they were not able to deal with the Buck, who was just prepped and ready to clean up everyone who ran through his little circle of death.
I can see what you mean. Now we can see with a interesting pick for Glaz coming out from NMSU. I'm assuming they're trying to do either an CCTV push or maybe just a small office push with using the smokes as a safety tool for planning.
Yeah, it's gonna have to see depending on where he's gonna try and get those long angles, because they maybe end up doing an office push just so that they can have control of that entire hallway. However, the alibi pick is interesting, and also the complete lack of an echo is also an interesting choice as well, which is something that is normally traditional on most defense.
Well, we saw that there were a couple rounds that NMSU decided to pick up a Doc instead of a Echo, hoping that he would help their survivability. But we might see a pick off. Nope, we don't see a pick off Legion. But I do like the fact that they do bring out a Legion here because it definitely applies a lot of pressure for both Armory Door and Small Office Door.
Yeah, and also the thought that they might six pick, say, the Glaz into a Monty or something, so that they might be able to get a defuse down. Under that assumption, keeping the Legion around is definitely a good idea on ASU's. Also, with the double breaching from NMSU, both the Habana and the Thermite coming out here, so they might try to breach both sides at once, and or try and waste all of the bandit charges on the Habana.
Well, we can see maybe Habana is going to try and put a hole inside Office and get into Fountain as a secondary push. Or stay outside on Balcony and try and just apply pressure on Office. Because based off this lineup and the roaming by Alibi, which is finally a nice thing to see, there's going to be a lot of pressure coming out from ASU.
And the other thing we see here, which we didn't see for many of the other ones, is the entirety of Fountain and Reinforced. Which means that if you have a Jaeger or anyone else there, they actually can hold Fountain effectively, which was something that NMSU could not do because nothing was reinforced on that side.
We also can see
also looks like
a Doc roaming.
Yeah, the Doc roam coming in. Both Alibi and Doc are playing the downstairs, the first floor roam.
And we can see the NMSU going just for your standard Armory push, not droning out CCTV initially, instead just opting to go for a quick push.
Yep, and they have confirmed now with 2 drones and CCTV that has been cleared out. So it looks like they're going to get 2 of the bandits right now. And that was a real Alibi that went and took out that Ash, which probably surprised the Ash in this particular case.
Alibi taking some damage out from Balcony by, it looks like, Habana. But we can definitely see how the lack of both a Jackal and Dokkaebi really hurt NMSU as they tried to push, and Bandit getting such a good pick on Thatcher.
Who he thought he saw someone downstairs, which was highly likely, which was the Doc at bottom of the stairs. And then that gave the availability for the Legion to turn around and get the Thatchers on the stairs.
As we can see, they do put a hole open into the hallway, trying to get some variety of pushes in, but 2v5 minute 30 on the timer still, with 2 roamers still up still. I don't think NMSU knows where they are, so they have to watch their flanks at all times.
Yeah, we knew that the Alibi was downstairs, but they have no idea exactly where since she was tagged once. And now it looks like the Habana's going to try and hold it downstairs while the Thermite pushes upstairs. I don't know how successful this is going to be, but that's probably their last shot at an attempt of even winning this.
And as we can see, Bandit just sitting above on top of the filing cabinets, waiting for the push into Big Office. Habana able to get the pick off on Alibi, and Thermite to that of Jaeger.
This definitely has gotten a lot closer than we thought. And now that they have rotated up, and the Bandit now moving from on top of the cabinet there, it now has definitely become a lot closer since the Doc is downstairs, not missing narrowly both the... And the Doc is doing the flank from the back stairs here.
Well, there's 30 seconds left on the... Yeah, with less than 30 seconds on the time, a lot of pressure. Habana getting picked up from Doc and behind, and it's only up to Thermite.
And he's probably going to be picked up by that Doc who comes in right there.
And he gets picked off by Bandit instead, coming out from the hole in the wall. It definitely looks like ASU has been practicing this map a lot, and I can definitely see why they've decided to choose Border as their primary map.
Yeah, especially with that clean 6-0 that we saw. Well, I wouldn't exactly call it clean. There was definitely a close call round 4, but with the very nice 6-0 we saw in the future, their opponents will have to watch out and possibly even ban Border so that they don't have to face this again, and also hopefully we might not have to cast this map 30 times in a given day.
GG.
So in that case, since we happen to be done with a draw from these two, since we do a grand total of 2 maps, and if the first person to 2 or 1-1 split, so 1-1 split gives a tie, and a team with 2 wins gets a win for the night. So in this case, we have a tie in between the 2 teams. So looking forward, what do you think this tie means for both of these teams coming in here?
You know, definitely seeing a tie, it could definitely hurt both teams when it comes down to later on, because as we can see from last season, as you get further and further into the weeks, the more points that you have and the more like games that you can win instead of having ties, it definitely comes down to the wire. So I think starting off with a tie on week 1 might be a bit of a heartbreaker for both teams down the line, but I definitely do think that there is a lot of improvement that both teams could have learned from this game.
Yeah, I think the biggest takeaway that both teams could get is just actually do roaming, because as we saw, that did some amazing work in the last round of Border, right? That was the only time we ever saw real extensive roaming in terms of multiple people being devoted to roaming. The only other time we saw was NMSU just shoving a rook up into large tower in Oregon and then immediately rotating out, not even actually holding anything.
Yeah,
so,
I definitely think that if there was more roaming on Oregon, that I definitely think that the score might have not been as close, and I definitely think ASU could have brought it home with a win instead of a tie.
Yeah, I would have to agree on that respect. So, I do believe that is all from both of us tonight.
Yes,
So-
I am.
Unless you have anything else to say.
No.
Okay, so in that case, this is also where we shill ourselves, but I myself am Coinman1863. I am just around on the Discord and doing multiple other things. And I'll just be casting now and again. That's primarily what I do. And I don't have a Twitter or any of those other social media things myself.
And I am PCT Pets. I do not do Twitter either, but I do our beautiful observing and hosting. But hopefully next time we will not crash and have technical difficulties. But regardless, we were able to bring back the game and hopefully present to you guys